Well, good morning, friend, and welcome to another episode of The Kingdom Within. I'm out here in the park as usual. I've got this beautiful view this morning out here. I just saw 5 deer run from over there at that field up and across that field up toward there's a house way on the other side of that field. So anyway, there was 4 deer. Oh wow, speaking of deer, there's one returning back across the field. I don't know if I can get that photo or not. Let's see if I can get that video. Was going across there, but it kind of stopped in the middle, and I'm not sure because I'm not wearing my glasses. I don't have a great view. There he is. So anyway, I'm not sure if that was the same group, because the other group went up and over the road. Maybe he just came around, came back. Maybe she didn't feel like hanging out with the other deer today. I don't know. I know that I'm out here in the woods. I'll tell you, I spent some time yesterday. I did do a video, but it turns out I had a thing on my mustache, on my face, and well, I didn't know it, and so I sat here, I recorded with it on my face the whole time, and well, that doesn't work. So I just deleted it. It was a video I did on the other side of Evansburg Park, because I'll tell you, Evansburg Park is a huge park, and there's all kind of walking trails, and it's a lot of area to cover. So I walk different days in different places in this park and in Valley Forge. Both of them have a lot of different trails. So those are the 2 local state parks that are close to me, that are close enough that I can make driving. Well, both of them were within 15 minutes of my house, so I can go out from my daily journeys into the woods. And sometimes I go to other parks, but they're usually much smaller, and there's not a whole lot of space to get away from folks. And I come out here for the peace and to talk to this camera sometimes, but mainly to talk to the Holy Spirit. And I just need time away, and I need to have some peace, and I find that out here, especially in the morning, because well, I'll tell you, you guys know I get on here to talk about this Jesus. Well, Jesus, it was said that he got up every morning early and spent time praying, talking to the Father through the Holy Spirit. So what I do is, I do what he did, because I want to be like him. And that's the reason I not only do it, I try to do it every morning. I try to spend a fair amount of time with Father, but I also try to give him a lot of time walking in the wilderness, even sometimes all day, sometimes just in the evenings, sometimes just in the mornings. But I give him a lot of time because, well, Jesus said that a student is not greater than his teacher. It's just enough to be like him. Well, what's happened is I was nothing like him, friend. But through this practice of doing what he did, I'm getting more and more like him as time goes past. My judgment is far less. My temper is much harder to trigger. When there was a time when everything used to make me mad. This forgiveness and love and joy and peace, well, something that I found, but it's not something that it just came to me, friend. It came to me because I was looking for it, and I was willing to put the work in that Jesus said, because I was desperate enough. because I'll tell you, I didn't come from a place called heaven. I came from what I always call the darkness, because I came from this place of angry and resentful and judgmental, and well, anytime I say anything, friend, it makes me a hypocrite. But the truth of the matter is that I'm getting better day by day, minute by minute. But there is no really day by day to get better at. There's just this eternal moment of now, and that's what I'm really learning, is that there is no here or there. There's nothing to be except for what it is you are. And what you are is for the sake of being for the Father. And that's what he showed me. So the only point is that I don't have any point except the point I have, and the point I have is the one I choose. The problem is when I don't choose the one of love, when I don't choose his point, well, then I make a mess of things just like every other human on this planet, because when we're selfish, we're causing suffering, and when we're loving, well, love gives to another what it would seek for itself. So when I'm thinking about the Holy Spirit and this God, this love, this forgiveness, well, then I'm thinking about how to be less so that you can be more. And that's what Jesus said. Jesus said, I'm the least among you. So I'm just trying to be the least, and for me what I've discovered is that the least among you means the one that judges others the least, the one that recognizes that he is less than what everyone else thinks they are themselves. Jesus thought less of himself because he knew God was more. That's why he said, of myself I am nothing, it is the Father who doeth the works. Not even the words I speak are on my behalf, but on the Father who sent me. What he was trying to tell you was that not only was he in the Father and the Father was in him, but you're in the Father and the Father's in you, and that which you do to the least of your brother, you do to the least of my Father. So if we hurt each other, well, we're taking a shot at hurting God. Not that we can really do it, because, well, it just is what it is. I don't know how to explain these things. We hurt him all the time, yet we could never hurt him at all, because both are true, neither are. How do you explain these things? How do you explain the divine? So, I come out here in the woods to have this relationship with this Holy Spirit, and I'll tell you, if I don't come out here enough, I end up not even feeling like I have this relationship, and then I feel like I'm of the world again, friend, and there's just nothing in this world that I want anymore. Yesterday, part of my job, well, I had to go to work as usual and run support groups and do this and that, but the thing I was doing last night was I was watching these YouTube videos, because that's kind of where he's leading me. And I was watching how they do things, and I saw this girl on there, Bex the cat herder, because somebody else referred her, and so I checked it out, because they talked about that she takes on some awesome views on hikes. And friend, that's what I do. I come out here hiking. Now right now I'm on here talking about Jesus, but I'm planning on creating a second channel at some point, I think. I don't know. We'll see what the Holy Spirit does with me, because I'll tell you, everything in my life is just an adventure, but I believe I am going to create an adventure travel channel that's going to have, well, I don't know whether I'll talk about that Jesus on there like I do on here or not. I'm not sure. The problem is I don't know what else to talk about anymore. Maybe it'll be a traveling Jesus channel. We'll talk about love as we're looking at amazing views. The thing is, friend, I already have amazing views going on, but they don't have the big titles, and they're not all over the place, and they're not big national monuments. This is in most, anybody that's in this area, this is in their backyard, and here it is, you can see that it's here for anybody. So that's the thing, you know, it's just a matter of making the decision whether we're going to sit on our couch or not. Because, friend, I'll tell you, I've been next to this park for years. Not years, but probably 7 years I've been living in this area. And I only discovered this park about 1.5 years ago. Because I started listening to the Holy Spirit, and it got me up off that couch. It got me walking in the woods and thinking about what it is that God wanted me to think about instead of what it is I was thinking about. Because what I was thinking about was, well, selfishness and fear. That fear had a tight grip on me. I guess I figured there's no safer place to have an adventure than on my couch. Sometimes I can't give you exact on why it is I've done what I've done and why I do what I do, but I think when I was there, one of the things is it kept me away from going out, because when I used to go on an adventure before, friend, well, that might have been like a drinking adventure or something or other, so I figured I guess staying in the house was safer than looking for an adventure out at a bar or something or other. Not that I was much ever into bars, but so I figured, turns out that this wilderness that we have, and when I say wilderness, here I'm out in this, getting ready to enter this woods, because this is where I'm headed right there. Getting ready to go right through there, in that trail. And then I'm going to go here in the woods, and I'll probably see more deer if I was quiet, but the problem is I'm talking to this camera all the time, so I kind of scare off the wildlife when I'm talking to this camera. Life is what life is. There's just nothing else to be anymore. I'm out here just enjoying life because I can. And it's not like I'm doing anything special. Here it was at 6 o'clock. I was up and out of the house before 6 a.m. heading for the woods. But I get out here and I've been listening to the birds. I don't know if you can hear them or not on the camera. I often delete the quiet spaces out of the conversations because you're on here, well, to talk to me or not, or listen to me, or not, probably not. But, so I don't leave a lot of empty space on here. Sometimes I'll delete things, but sometimes I just stop and listen. Sometimes the peace is in what you hear, and sometimes the peace is in what you don't. Sometimes it's almost a dead quiet, other times you have birds. It's a beautiful thing, though. I love this adventure called life that my Father's given me. I'm grateful for it. Do you hear that crunching under my feet? Well, there was a horse that had gone through here, and so it kind of kicked up the mud, and then it froze. So now when you step on it, it's all crunchy because you got mud and leaves all frozen in clumps up off the ground a little bit, like So this is where I'm walking now up this trail. Nothing exciting. But that's the thing, see, friend. I've just got this great adventure going on, and, well, I just don't know. I know that I enjoy the views. I know that coming out here, I get to talk to that Holy Spirit. To tell you the truth, I was kind of having a little bit of a hard time finding the Spirit this morning, talking to the Spirit. Not that I have a hard time, I don't know how to explain it. My focus is off. Yet, sometimes talking on this video camera gives me my focus back because, well, I'm doing for God what it is I want God to do for me, and that is just teach me love. So he said, give to another what it is you'd seek for yourself. So if I want love, I have to give love, and sometimes giving it on this camera, giving my truth, is what actually helps reaffirm my truth to myself. Because Jesus said, to whom that much is given, much is required, and him that gives nothing, even what he has, will be taken away. And that's what I found is, that if I'm not willing to share it, then he doesn't feel as though I need it. But when I try to give this peace and love to other people, it turns out it gets stronger in me. So, I've just come to see that what I want to think about is what I want to bring about. And if what I'm thinking about isn't what I want to bring about, then I need to think about something else. I need to find this Holy Spirit and ask it to give me new thoughts, and that's what it's done. It's given me new thoughts, and now I don't have all those painful thoughts I used to of judgment and suffering, except when I do. And that is when I get too far away from this Holy Spirit and get wrapped up into that world. So I try not to do that too much. That's why I love being out here, trying to be like my spiritual teacher, Jesus. Because he told me how to do this. He told me how to find love. He told me I could have the Holy Spirit. Because he said I could have it. Well, it's mine to have. And I was trying to explain that to people yesterday, how that works. How it is that I can discern the Spirit and know my Father. And it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, except to make sense all the while. Jesus told us, but nobody really heard it. You have to put it all together, and you have to do what he asked. And then the Holy Spirit will come to you. And you will know that it's the Holy Spirit because you just know it in your stomach. Because the Father will reveal it to you. And then you'll listen to what this thought has to say. Because it's kind of like a thought. It's a voice in my head. They call me a voice here because I hear this voice I call the Holy Spirit, which is the voice of God. Yet it usually doesn't give me great wisdom. The voice gives me comfort until it teaches me things I need to know. But it matches with the feeling in my stomach. And when they don't match, it's not right. That's when I get shaky on what my truth is. There's only love. Love and forgiveness. The purpose of the world is to come to know love by experience. And if you've come to accept that, then there's just nothing else to accept. Everything else is just kind of a byproduct of what we're doing and how to accomplish that goal. The problem is a lot of people don't know that's their goal. So they're looking for something, and they think they're looking for something different, and they just don't know what they're looking for because they can't find it, and because they can't find it, they don't know what they're looking for. But we all want love and acceptance. We all want forgiveness. Those are the things that are really of value in this world. And that's why Jesus came and gave that forgiveness, because, well, that is what love does. Love forgives. Love gives to another what it would seek for itself. And I'll tell you, our whole mind is built around this thought of guilt, which is this thought of selfishness and suffering and fear. And I'll tell you, and if you say that you don't ever feel guilty, well, then that might be a concern all of its own, friend, because, well, we all should be trying to figure out what's right to do in our lives and how it is we can go about doing that, because love is what love is. But I've talked about that enough times. I don't really feel like going into that, but I never really feel like doing anything. It just seems to pop out of my mouth. Quite often I have no idea what I'm going to say until I say it. And a lot of times I end up saying things that kind of sound judgmental toward Christianity, and I don't mean to, unless I do. I'm not sure. I ask my father all the time why it is that happens, because I just talk and whatever pops out of my mouth is what it is. What the Father showed me is that Jesus, he judged the Pharisees, but he wasn't really judging the Pharisees. He forgave them. He forgave the servant of the high priest even as they came to whip, beat, and crucify him. So when he was judging the Pharisees, he wasn't really judging the Pharisees. He was trying to teach us that being right doesn't make you right, it makes you wrong. Yet he said, be righteous. But to be righteous is to realize that you're not right, that only the Father's right. And because the Father's right, well, then you can do the right thing, which is what Jesus asked, and that is to love your neighbor as yourself and not judge anyone lest you be judged. Because every time we judge someone else, we judge our Father. And I'd say these things over and over. Don't know if they'll ever be heard or people will hear them the way I mean them. I don't know. My job isn't to get you to understand. That's my Father's job. Jesus said he would speak and they wouldn't hear, lest they turn and be forgiven. Friend, why didn't my Father want you to turn and be forgiven? Has that ever occurred to you? He said that. Friend, that had me all kind of riled up. If you haven't been mad at God yet, you haven't really gotten to have this relationship too much. Because I'll tell you what, everybody tells you to fear God, but the people you trust the most, you get angry with. And I spent some time angry at God because I knew that he was loving. I just couldn't understand what he was doing or why. And I used to get so mad at him. And I used to tell him so too. So if God gets upset, if somebody gets upset with him, well, then I should be in trouble. But that's not what Jesus said. Jesus said get in a relationship with him. Turns out that what we didn't realize quite often, people didn't realize, some people did. People in psychology are figuring these things out. It turns out quite often, the reason we get angry at people that we're closest to, and we'll take out our anger on people that we're close to instead of people that we don't know, is because we trust them. So if I get angry and I kind of act immature and yell at someone. If I yell at a family member that I love, that loves me, they're much more likely to forgive me. But if I don't and I yell at a stranger, they're less likely to forgive me. And so it's funny how that works, that we will be the people that we're in relationship with, they get to know the best and the worst of us. And well, the Holy Spirit's just showed me how to give me the more of the good of me than the bad of me, because friend, I had plenty of the bad of me. Oh, look at that pretty little bird. Stopped here just to give me a view. Friend, I don't know if I could, well, by the time I get it turned around, he'll be gone. There he goes. So anyway, I was talking about forgiveness, and I was talking about that we quite often act poorly toward strangers. I mean, toward the people we love, and then we act all self-righteous in front of strangers. And well, God knows and sees what we're doing. We're not fooling anybody. But anyway, that's the thing about this relationship with God is, if you're not going to really have a relationship with Him, then you're not going to get angry with Him. But friend, if you're going to really have this relationship with God, and you start really digging for the answers instead of buying into the line of crap that everybody else gives you, and you start really having this relationship, you're going to get a little upset probably. I did. You kidding me? I was looking around this world. I wasn't blind. I was watching people kill people in the name of God. I was watching Christians do horrible things to each other and justifying it as hypocrisy. I'm not telling you a lie. So, was I mad at God? Absolutely, because I was mad at His followers. And I was mad at all the people and all the things that have been done to me. I was mad at Him because, well, I had physical things go wrong with me. You know, you blame God when you don't understand it all yourself. Not that I understand it, but I understand enough that I really don't need to understand anything. Because everything He gave me and then took away. And now what I realize is everything I know, I really don't know anything of value. All these truths are just one more lie about a truth. It's just another lie. How do I explain that to somebody? Jesus is the truth, and if you follow His truth, you will find what it is you're looking for. The problem is His was hidden. Well, for one thing was because you weren't meant to find it unless you wanted it bad enough. And the other was He was talking to people that, well, that were willing to kill each other with stones, friend. Stoning people to death was still a practice. Well, friend, the camera turned off on me because the battery's probably getting low again. This battery doesn't hold up very long, but that's what happens. Sorry, I'm trying to get my hands situated back in my gloves because it is cold out here this morning. If you can tell by the way I'm wearing this funky hat. But anyway, because the camera did shut off on me, I'm not going to have much longer to speak, and I'll just go ahead and shut it off. But I just want you to realize that this isn't about perfection. It never was. It's about experience and giving the experience to God that He's looking for. And the experience God's looking for is He wanted you to find the truth to who you are and find out that the truth to who you are isn't as good as the truth to who you can be through Him. And what happens is, through this Jesus, you get to know the Father, and then by connecting with the Father, your love becomes stronger and your forgiveness greater. And then you can love and forgive people things that you couldn't have loved and forgiven them for before. and you will find this strength that Jesus was talking about. But that's your purpose. Your purpose is to come to know love by experience, but first you got to get to know you. When you find out, what you will figure out in the end is that the more I love God, the more I love me and you, and the more I judge me and you, the more I judge God. And so therefore, I either love us all or I hate us all, but there's only different degrees of between those two spectrums. There is no neutral thing. There's either I'm judging you or I'm not. I love you or I don't. I accept you or I don't. And Jesus loved and accepted you, and so I'm trying to be like him because, well, it's less painful too. Judgment is suffering, and suffering is caused by selfishness, and I just don't want to be selfish anymore because I don't want to be suffering. Even though I still have to be just a little selfish, and that is, I have to serve self. It's just I've turned out that serving myself is serving you and my Father, and I feel better when I do that. It just took me a while to figure out that that was the choice I really wanted, and that that's what Jesus was talking about this kingdom. Anyway, friend, because I am out of battery, just know that I love you because my Father loves you, and you're worth loving because I'm worth loving, and everybody is worth loving. And we all deserve love and forgiveness, and if we give each other more, well, then we'd end up with less judgment from each other. So I'm hoping that maybe you'll think about that a little bit and decide to love more and judge less. All right, friend, well, may God bless you and yours.